Paul and his longtime chase partner Carl Young. They were killed on Friday in a tornado in El Reno, Oklahoma. The twister had winds of at least 136 miles an hour and reportedly took a sudden left turn, trapping the veteran storm chasers. Joining me now is Bob Young, Carl Young's father, and Sal DeCido, who's Carl's stepfather. Thank you so much to both of you for joining me. May I say at the start how terribly sorry I am about the dreadful loss of Carl and indeed his two friends. If I could start with you, Bob, you're Carl's father. When did you hear about what had happened?
Carl was killed Friday afternoon, and I didn't hear about it until Sunday morning.
Wow. You obviously knew that there were these storms going on. You knew that he was a regular, seasoned and experienced storm chaser. Did you fear that this may happen one day?
I was always concerned because not only did they want to get pictures of the tornadoes for scientific research, they wanted to put probes that could measure all of the different things with tornadoes, which meant that they had to place these probes in the path of the tornado and get out of there before the tornado hit.
Sal, you were Carl's stepfather. Both of you men knew him a very, very long time. What is your reaction to what's happened? Because many people are saying, look, it's just too dangerous for people to do this. Others are saying the work they do is so important, it must be allowed to continue.
The work must continue, and of course, as parents, we were horrified of this accident, but we do also want people to understand. For us as parents, to have our son go out on this is like sending your son or daughter out to war. And this took place every year, but this was Carl's passion and Tim's passion, and they were professionals, and we respected that. But we feel, as any parent would, their son or daughter going out to war.
Bob, tell me about Carl. What kind of man was he?
He was a very gentle, very caring son, and I was very close to him. And his passion was doing this research. His passion for many years was the weather phenomenon, and he started chasing with Tim 11 years ago. And he loved it. They worked well together, and he looked forward to it. He knew it was dangerous. I knew it was dangerous, and we just hoped that everything would be okay. And this time we still don't know the details, but something happened, and they did not survive.
What is being suggested, Bob, is that there may have been a sudden dramatic turn in the path of the tornado, and that's what caught them by surprise. Is that what you're hearing?
Yes, there are two different versions of it. We talked to the sheriff, and he said that the debris field was a half-mile long of the vehicle, and the engine of the car was found a half-mile from where the remainder of the car came to rest. We feel that they were paralleling the tornado, heading eastward, and the tornado made an abrupt turn, and they, for one reason or another, couldn't get out of it, or the tornado dropped satellite tornadoes which popped up, and they just had no chance, and it was over quickly. Evidently, they did deploy 3 probes which were found, and they were on. So this leads me to believe that they set up the probes, and then something appeared out of nowhere, and they tried to escape, and they couldn't make it because the probes were not turned off.
Sal, how would you like Carl to be remembered?
First and foremost, as our son. And beyond that, we would like to thank everyone in Oklahoma and all the news medias. They've been fair on this to the most part. They understand that these are not teenagers going out. These are adult, mature, experienced scientists doing what they love. It isn't something perhaps you and I would do, but this is something that this is their passion, and they wanted to make a difference. We received a phone call not only from the sheriff, which Bob mentioned, but also from one of their state senators, Senator, I believe it's McClearly. And he stated that he understands the danger, and he wanted to personally thank us for having our son being there, even though we're from California, because he knows that Carl and his team saved thousands of Oklahoma's lives.
Yeah,
they were the first to. Yes.
I was just going to pick up on that.
Go ahead.
I was going to pick up on that point, Bob, and just say that there's no doubt that Carl and his teammates did save countless lives. I mean, they managed through these probes to increase the warning periods for these tornadoes, I understand, which in itself will have certainly saved lives.
That is correct.
I mean, he very much is a hero.
Yes, he is. Yep. Yes, he's my loving son, and I miss him. And he's coming home to Lake Tahoe, where he will be. We'll have funeral services on Saturday, and he will be buried after that. And I will always remember him as a very loving son and very caring son.
Bob and Sal, I'm so sorry for your loss. It's heartbreaking to listen to you both talking about such a brave young man who really did risk his life repeatedly for other people. And my heart just goes out to you and to all your family, both your families. And just, I really lost what to say to make it any better, other than he does, through his legacy, he will continue to save lives. The work that he and the team did with Tim and the others will definitely continue to save lives, and that can be a matter of great pride to both of you.
Yes, it will be.
It will be, and thank you, Pierce. We really appreciate the professionalism of everyone. Everyone's been very kind, and they definitely understand the situation that we are in. And Carl was a very compassionate person, and he gave up his life for that compassion and saving others. So we'll remember that, and thank you.
Thank you, Piers, for having us this opportunity.
You know, it's funny what you said, Sally. This is not something I could ever do, storm chasing. I don't have it in me to do that. I think it's an amazingly courageous thing that these people do. And the more I've learned about it since I've lived in America, we just don't have this problem where I come from. We don't have tornadoes and stuff in Britain. And the more I've researched this, the more extraordinary it seems to me that these people, when others are racing away to save their own lives, these guys like Carl, like Tim and the others, they go into these storms knowing that they could be killed at any time.
Yes.
I think it's a remarkable thing.
That is true, and like you, Pierce, I couldn't do it either. So I give credit for those who can, and we're very supportive of them. And I want people to recognize these are young adults. This is their profession. They have lots of experience behind them, and these things happen. And for Carl and Tim, the two buddies, for this to happen to them, it's just the only logical thing that we can brace is that there were multiple vortexes or tornadoes that sprung up and basically ambushed them. So again, to us, this is a war zone, and this is what happened.
Incredibly sad. Bob and Sal, thank you both so much for joining me.
Thank you for your time. We appreciate it.
Joining me now exclusively, four men who worked closely with Tim Samaras and his team: Ed Grubb, who only left Oklahoma on Friday morning to be at home for his daughter's birthday; Ben McMillan, an EMT who pulled 15 people from the rubble after the May 20th twister; meteorologist Matt Grish; and Tony Lawback, who was just 2 miles from where Tim's team were on Friday night. Thank you, gentlemen, all for joining me. Obviously a devastating loss to all of you and to the team. Let me start with you, if I may, Ed. You're a navigator for TwistX.
Yes.
Tell me about the three men who so tragically lost their lives.
I've had the privilege of chasing with Carl and with Tim and with Paul now since 2009. And they were always outgoing, energetic, willing to share every bit of information that they could possibly share with not only us, but with anybody else who would pull up alongside us on the road, who were afraid of what was coming at them. And they did it in a very, very good manner that was very well understood. I know they were both excellent forecasters. Paul generally rode with Tony Laubach and myself in one of the Mesonet vehicles that followed. He was a tremendous photographer and a great videographer, creative beyond anybody of his years that I've seen before. And the three guys were just incredible friends. The compatibility amongst all our team was always there. It was just a stunning kind of thing to listen to. And I myself didn't know confirmed-wise the situation until early Sunday morning myself.
Ben, I actually spoke to you by phone on Friday night in the middle of all this. I've actually got a clip to play. This is from another storm chaser called Brandon Kopic, and this is what he told me the same night.
This is a very powerful storm. I've been chasing for about 4 to 5 years now, and I haven't seen anything like it. This is one of those times where this is the first time I could actually say I feared for my life when the tornado was coming forth.
Ben, even though the loss of life at the moment hasn't quite reached the levels of the previous Oklahoma tornado 10 days ago, in terms of power, it wasn't quite as powerful, but clearly from what people were telling me, including yourself that night, it was a pretty awesome tornado, wasn't it?
Yes, Piers, from the winds that we felt, I felt they were at the same level of what I felt in the Moore tornado. The EF scale rates tornadoes based on the damage that they cause, not the actual winds themselves in most cases. So we may never know how strong the winds actually were in this tornado. But in my opinion, the winds with this storm were at or above the level of what I experienced in the Moore tornado.
Matt, you've taken the season off because you've got a young child. It does raise this question, which I'm sure a lot of people are thinking, about the families, the wives and children of storm chasers, about how much pressure you guys all come under to give this kind of thing up. How do you respond to that?
Yeah, it's a tough thing. My wife responded to this asking me if I would retire from storm chasing, actually. It's tough. It's hard on the family. We get on the road for 60 to 80 days a year, and we're putting our lives at risk, every time we're out there. And we never knew, well, we knew, but we never thought this kind of thing would happen to us or our team. So it's very tough.
Tony, you've obviously been a seasoned storm chaser for